Please welcome to the stage, Dolan Wolf.
I'll go a bit higher. How do I do that?
Whatever you need. He smells good.
Do it. Bear with me. Good evening. I've told 3 stories at Bawdy so far. One about sex in a bathhouse, 2 involving fisting. Tonight I'm switching things up. I'm telling a story about fisting in a bathhouse. Before I begin, I love San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco. And we can be a little bit smug about how progressive we are, especially around sex. You know what I mean? Hello, I'm Sir Snooty Boots. That's my boy, this is my slave, and over there annoying those perfect strangers is my pup, Fuckwit. So, to be clear, I'm super grateful, and I know privileged as all hell, to have lived this story and to be up here telling you it tonight. I'm not telling you this story because I think I'm so special. I know I'm a lucky fucker, and I just hope that this story encourages you guys to have as much fun as you possibly can. So, with that said, I'm also very lucky because I'm married to a gorgeous man called Mark, who looks a bit like Dave Bautista, the ex-pro wrestler who's the beefcake autistic guy in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Though not so much mean-looking as though he thinks it's your fault. I love him to bits. He sat over there. I love you. This story's not about him. This story involves, speaking of incomprehensibly annoying polyamory, my husband's ex-boy who has accidentally become my second daddy. Jeff. Jeff looks a bit like another pro wrestler, Triple H. Yes, I have a type. If you don't know what Triple H looks like, the main thing you need to know is that Jeff has a kind of resting, I want to murder someone face, which probably comes from the I want to murder someone fantasies that he has. He's sat over there somewhere, but don't worry, you're perfectly safe as long as you don't look directly at him. Anyway, Jeff has, with a little bit of help from me, become in the last couple of years, a ravenous fist pig. And he's been enjoying fisting me so much and seeing how much pleasure I get from it that he's started to train his hole for my fist. My evil plan is working. Nothing. And the other thing I should tell you about Jeff is he loves wrestling. He loves pro wrestling. That's probably partly why he looks like a pro wrestler. In fact, for a long time, Jeff genuinely didn't think he was gay, but he was worried whether it was normal to like wrestling as much as he did. True story. I mean, he was once part owner of a wrestling ring. He's still, at the age of 40, is regularly wrestling with the SF Grapplers, the gay wrestling group in San Francisco. Anyway, Jeff and I went to IML in Chicago in May this year. And if you don't know, IML stands for International Mr. Leather. It's like Miss World, but gayer and with more drama. And over IML, thousands of gay men and other people pack out a hotel in Chicago for guys to wear and play in all kinds of kinky wear, leather, rubber, sports gear, pup gear, pony play stuff, furries, my favorite hybrid of all, stormtrooper up to the neck, furry headpiece on top. There's so much going on at IML all the time. There's the contest, which some people are all about and some people completely ignore. There's the market, which is kind of part shopping, part socializing, part cruising all day long in the hotel. And then outside of that, you've got huge parties at clubs, you've got smaller parties going on in hotel rooms and private places, and everything in between if you know the right people. Jeff and I arrived in Chicago on the Thursday evening, and we only had one concrete plan, and that didn't really involve IML. It was to join a mutual friend in a wrestling ring on the outskirts of the city, so Jeff could get beat up pro wrestling style. Now, unfortunately, Jeff was still getting over a chest infection, so he didn't have the stamina he would have liked going into the wrestling match. He still got thrown onto thumbtacks and barbed wire, and had his balls stapled to his ass, and his head sliced open and then punched so that it would bleed all over his face. And I think he had a really good time. But he was a little disappointed he wasn't in better shape to take more. So I was thinking, it would be really nice if we could sort of make that up to him by fulfilling a fantasy we both had of him fisting me in some kind of sex party or, public environment where we could be seen. And as you know, Folsom people, at events like Folsom and IML, there's so much going on all the time, it can be really, really hard to work out where you want to be for the experience you're looking for, right? Where you need to be. Is it going to happen there, or would it happen there? Is there people going there? So Saturday night rolls around, and I'm going through that whole thing. But I'm trying to stay open to possibilities, but I'm fairly sure that our best bet is going to be to go to Steamworks. Regardless of whether we get anywhere close to our fantasy, that's probably where the most possibilities are going to happen. So off we go down to Steamworks, and Steamworks is a bathhouse, gay bathhouse in Chicago that is massive. It's on 4 floors. There's over 100 rooms, private rooms. There's glory hole mazes, all kinds of sex furniture all over the place. There's a fully functional, great gym. It's an amazing place. So Jeff and I go to Steamworks, and it's so busy. There's a waiting list for rooms, and the only place they can find us a locker is on the 3rd floor. So up we go, and we change into jockstraps and towels. And our first sort of port of call, place to explore, because we're on the 3rd floor, and so is the gym. So we go in there, and it's completely empty. No one's come here to work out this evening. It's also fully lit, and there's a 1-foot-high stage in there, because we know that they sometimes do sex shows there, with a fuck bench on it. And I say to Jeff, well, if we can't find anything else, there's always that. So off we go, we explore the rest of Steamworks. And it's slow going because the place is bulging with men, lining the corridors, standing in doors to rooms, hoping to pull someone in. And Jeff and I are, open to catch a spark of some kind, but nothing's really happening. Maybe there's just too many people for the right energy to breathe. And it gets to a certain point where I think the only way this is going to happen for us is if we make it happen for ourselves. So let's go back to the gym. We can use that fuck bench. We'll go from there. So we get back to the gym, we put our stuff down, we start kissing and connecting, and now, we're not thinking about anything else. The desire kicks in. Jeff says, "You want my fist in your ass, boy?" And of course I bloody do, but it's still nice to be asked. And also made complicit in something that's still quite scary given how fucking huge Jeff's fists are. So I climb on the fuck bench, and big hands. Usually takes a while for Jeff to relax my hold enough to get in there. But he's barely got 4 fingers in me when the lights change to stage lighting, which is to say dim for the gym and mood lighting pointing at the stage. And we don't know if the CCTV can see us. We don't know if this is a signal to us, whether it's to encourage us or scare us off. But Jeff carries on playing with my hole, and we're both fairly verbal. So, he's saying, you want my fist in your hole, boy? Sorry, it's a terrible accent. I'm saying, yes, sir, good boy. And, it's not very original, I know. But it's enough to pique the curiosity of people just outside the gym. So a few guys wander in. So now we've kind of got an audience. And that adds something to the scene, and, that's exciting. So, I increase the volume, and thank you, sir, every time Jeff gets his fist back in my hole. But there's a fine art with exhibitionism. You want to remain authentic. It's okay to amplify, what's going on. But you also want to stay connected to your partner. So it's okay to break the fourth wall and go, I can see you watching me get my ass fisted. Yeah. But you want to stay connected to your partner, and so I'm doing that. I'm trying to think about how this feels, and it feels fucking amazing. It swings between being more than I think I can stand and everything I want, and I'm using mindfulness practice to both be aware that the audience is there and feel that mindfulness, and slightly tune them out as well. And so that they're sort of there, but they're not there, right? And that famous scene from the Hitchcock film The Birds, where Tippi Hedren sits down on a bench outside a school with her back to a climbing frame. And the way the scene starts, you know where it's going, but the way it's cut, you're still shocked when all of a sudden the climbing frame is filled with crows. So it's a bit like that. All of a sudden, the gym is filled with men. Must have been maybe 100 people watching us, 100 guys. And I've done actual, proper, organized, planned sex shows with less than half that number of people watching. And I'm hoping this isn't too much for Jeff. But I'm also thinking, we've got to go for it now, So, I'm saying, thank you for punching my cunt, sir, as loud as I can. And then, without warning, we hear, would patrons please note that the sex show will be starting in the gym in 15 minutes. And I'm thinking, fucker, the sex show's already started. So, okay, we both know we might have to wrap this up a little sooner than we planned. So about 10 minutes later, I can sense Jeff is trying to make me come by the way that he's fisting me and playing with my cock at the same time. And I don't know if you've ever come whilst something the size of a small chicken has been pumping in and out of your ass. But let me tell you, you make a lot of noise. And with me, it tends to be non-verbal or subverbal, kind of like, So I've no idea what the audience made of that noise. But when it was clear that our portion of the entertainment for the evening was over, we got a huge round of applause. And for me, that's what IML is about. Validation. No, not validation. No, having an experience so fucking wild and crazy and hot that you couldn't have anywhere else, and you absolutely couldn't plan if you tried. I think Jeff and I were both really happy that we'd fulfilled our fantasy of him fisting me with an audience with fucking knobs on. We both probably would have liked to have gone on a little bit longer. But you know what they say? Always leave the audience wanting more.